Elara was beautiful. Her fiery red hair flowed like molten lava. Her eyes, twin emeralds, sparkled with life. But Elara was also afraid. She feared the unknown. The villagers called her Elara the Shy. They whispered about her emerald eyes. They believed they held a spark of ancient magic. Elara lived in a small village nestled at the edge of the whispering woods. The woods were ancient. They were filled with twisted trees and hidden paths. Legends spoke of strange creatures and eerie whispers echoing through the trees. The villagers avoided the woods after dark. One day Elara's grandmother fell ill. The village healer needed rare herbs. These herbs grew only in the heart of the whispering woods. It was a perilous task, but Elara's love for her grandmother was stronger than her fear. As the sun began to set, Elara knew what she had to do. Night fell, a moonless night. The stars were hidden behind a thick blanket of clouds. Elara stood at the edge of the woods. She clutched a basket in her hand. Her heart pounded in her chest. She took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness. The woods were silent. The usual nighttime sounds of animals were gone. Only the sound of Elara's own breathing broke the silence. The darkness seemed to press in on her, suffocating her. The air grew cold. It sent shivers down her spine. Elara moved deeper into the woods. The trees grew taller. Their branches intertwined overhead, blocking out the last vestiges of light. Shadows danced around her. Every rustle of leaves sent a jolt of fear through her. She imagined eyes watching her from the darkness. Elara pushed onward. She repeated her grandmother's name like a mantra. It was a beacon of hope in the darkness. Suddenly a twig snapped. The sound echoed through the silent woods. Elara froze, her blood turning to ice. She turned slowly, her eyes scanning the darkness. A pair of eyes glowed in the darkness. They were not the eyes of an animal. They were too high, too intelligent. Elara took a step back, her hand reaching for the small knife she carried in her belt. A figure emerged from the trees. It was tall and skeletal. It was cloaked in a dark, hooded robe. The figure took a step toward Elara. Its skeletal fingers emerged from the folds of its robe. They were long and bony. They seemed to reach for her. Elara screamed. The sound of her own terror echoed through the silent woods. The figure stopped. It turned its head as if listening to something in the distance. The sound of voices reached Elara's ears. They were coming closer. Torches flickered in the distance. The villagers! The figure turned and melted back into the darkness. It vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Elara collapsed to the ground. She was trembling with fear. The villagers found her moments later. They were led by the village elder, a wise old man with kind eyes. They had heard Elara's scream. They had come to rescue her. Elara was safe. She was surrounded by the warmth of their concern. But she would never forget the horrors she had witnessed in the Whispering Woods. From that day forward, Elara was never quite the same. She carried the memory of that night. It was a dark shadow in her heart. The villagers rebuilt her grandmother's cottage. They made sure it was far from the edge of the woods, but Elara knew that some things could not be outrun. Some fears stayed with you forever.